Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the U.S.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to War Room Pandemic. Jack Maxey's demanded in the second hour of the show the headphones go back on, okay? He didn't get the hashtag War Room Pandemic, didn't get his normal brigade coming to his defense. Jack, typically outstanding in the last segment on the pandemic. We got a big show this hour. We're talking about the Chinese Communist Party in China. We got Bill Gertz, Donald J. Trump's National Security Advisor, Robert O'Brien, is in Arizona today, the day after President Trump was at the border wall. Governor Ducey has a group out there, very prominent people, and O'Brien's given a seminal speech on the Chinese Communist Party, its relation to the United States of America. Bill Gertz, such a big speech that Bill Gertz from the Washington Times is actually out there. We're going to join. Bill's going to join us in a moment, but I want to go first back to on all the platforms we got. America's Voice.net News on Dish Channel 219, on Newsmax TV, on John Frederick's Radio Network, through Miles Guo, and the G News, GTV people, through IRS. You know, this show's internationally known now because people want to know what you, the deplorables, are thinking. So we know every trading desk listens to it, news producers listen to it, but the most important thing is you listen to it. And what we're proud of on the podcast, which is like the 9th way to get this, or the 10th way to get this, we're now over 10 million downloads on the show. Big. Normally we do that when we get a scalp, but we love that so much.
I got to call you out on the boomer humor here.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't work.
No, okay. I love it so much. Normally we do it when we're blowing somebody up.
Well, here's the thing.
Actually, okay. Then it was for Jack Maxey's last segment.
No,
okay?
what it is it's for Joe Biden's Proof of Life podcast. Is
wow,
what it is.
That's dude, guys. I got to tell you, something has this. Tell you what's not good about this. It's not really good for the country. You can't. Joe Biden can't help what's happened to him. That's just age, right? But yesterday, in President Obama, Greg Mann summed it up when Greg watched it the first time. He said there's a look of anguish in his face, because Obama's close to Biden, and you just see. And look, my dad, God bless him, he's 98 years old, but many of his friends during the years, guys he was very close to, had those conditions, right? And you see it, and you can see the anger. He's trying to pull it back. He's trying to get that thing, and it just can't. It can't get there now. For full disclosure, Joe Biden was not Einstein's cousin at the top of his game, right? In House of Cards, that guy in the first season, the VP, that was based upon, they used to mock and ridicule Biden all the time. Because Obama and all his guys are, all Harvard and Yale and all that, and Biden was just not considered that bright. Okay, we're now going to go, we have a special, he should have done it in the Blaze, but that's okay. We have a if you're looking at AVN, we have I guess I'm substituting for President Obama. He actually, I'll be in full disclosure, I think he actually wears it better. Okay.
Barack Bannon.
That's where I got it. That's where I got to drop 50 pounds. Let's go now to Bill Gertz to get back to the seriousness of everything. Bill, you have done better reporting and, on top of this thing on the pandemic from day one. And the reason is you've got 30 years of doing this. Your book, Deceiving the Sky, is one that we talk about all the time. It's not an easy book to get through, but it's a must-read because you really walk through everything about the Chinese Communist Party, their whole history and what they're doing today in a lot of detail. So it's not a beach read. It's for people that really want to understand what's going on. The book is Deceiving the Sky. But you you do this every day. You got the great column, Inside the Ring, that you've had, but you also one of the top investigative reporters in town. I think it's pretty important. When I heard Gertz was going out for Robert O'Brien, the National Security Advisor's speech, I knew it was a big deal, and I heard it was important. So, Bill, what's going to happen today in Arizona? The President of the United States' National Security Advisor, Robert O'Brien, is out there. You're out there. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah. Hi, Steve. Great to be on the show. I got a chance to travel on a C-40 jet, Air Force jet out of Andrews. We left last night, got in about 9 o'clock local time here. And the National Security Advisor O'Brien is preparing a major speech. I've seen parts of it. It's embargoed till later today, so I can't really get into the substance, but I can tell you that it's part of a series of efforts by the Trump administration to better educate the American people and the world, allies and friends around the world, about the threat from China. And so they're really kind of pulling out all the stops. I think we saw a little bit of this from Attorney General Barr on Sunday, where he talked about the Chinese espionage being a fundamental threat to the United States. Now O'Brien is going to highlight a lot of the communist ideology, which I've really focused on in my book, Deceiving the Sky. I spent a whole chapter. It's absolutely imperative that Americans and people in the world understand that this is a communist regime. And for decades, people have been telling us they're not really communists. But I think that's going to be one of the main themes of the O'Brien speech today.
Let's talk about that. For decades, we were told by engagement, and really by engagement means giving them access to basically cheap American capital and really letting them steal or giving them our technology, which our universities built and our entrepreneurs built, but basically letting them either steal it or just let them, on forced technology transfers, have it. We were told if we had that type of quote-unquote engagement, that they would eventually become a liberal democracy and part of the Alliance of Liberty. And the exact opposite has happened. Is National Security Advisor O'Brien going to lay out the failed concept of engagement?
Yeah, he's definitely going to do that. I mean, that's been the key theme throughout. Like I say, Pompeo has been really the lead person in the administration, the Secretary of State, in really laying this case out. Now I think O'Brien is going to try to put some meat on the bones of what Pompeo has been talking about. I think we're going to see other senior officials come out and also again, expose the Communist Party of China, which, again, is the real key. I had a really important profile of Miles Yu, the State Department's policy planning staff expert on China. And he's kind of the power behind the throne, if you will, in really setting the stage for these. He grew up in Cultural Revolution China and listened to Ronald Reagan secretly on the Voice of America in Chinese. Made it to the U.S. as a student and ended up as a Naval Academy professor. He's really a key player in all of the Trump administration's policies towards China. And I think that's kind of a reflection of what we've been seeing through these senior leaders' speeches and what I'm expecting later today.
Let's go to the Voice of America. You know, the mainstream media is covering it like it's President Trump trying to put Trump TV over there, or some sort of propaganda department for President Trump. It's the exact opposite. It's the fact that they have not been Voice of America and they have not been Radio Free Asia. They have not done historically what those great institutions have done, which is take on communism and peel back all its lies, all its misrepresentations, and how the information is used to enslave people. So tell us what's your assessment. You've been around the VOA and the Radio Free Asia for a couple of decades. What do you think of what Michael Pack's doing?
First thing he did was he cleaned house, which was excellent. But he pissed off a lot of people, both on the Democrat and Republican side. But it's absolutely necessary. I think the problem with our broadcasting system, we're spending upwards of $800 million a year to basically fund a private sector style news organization. Hey, wake up, people. This is an information age. We're in information war, especially with the Chinese, also the Russians and others. And this is not the time for the government to be funding a private style news organization. We need a counter disinformation operation. We need something that promotes American freedom and American values. I mean, that's really what they need to be doing. This idea that you can't get the free flow of information from the private sector is the whole basis for the opposition to making needed reforms at the Voice of America and other broadcasters. It's absolutely imperative that we really take on. It's just, like I said, this is information war. It's not just an information battle. It's really a war.
One of the things that came off the page, I thought, in your Miles U, and we got to get that back up on linked up to the site. Your profile was amazing. I got to tell you, when I was reading it, I thought, man, I know he's important at policy planning, and policy planning is in the State Department where Kennan came from. So it's absolutely an incredibly important part of the State Department. But man, when I was reading your profile of him, I said, gosh, I'd like to have that guy over at VOA helping Michael Pack out.
I think he'd be a great VOA director. Yeah, that would be a great pick. We haven't heard any names, I haven't at least, on who's going to be replacing Amanda Bennett, again, who was the Obama administration's person and basically turned VOA into kind of a fluff news service, which was spent more time criticizing the Trump administration than America's adversaries. So it's definitely going to be a good post for someone. And again, they need to revamp the whole thing. You know, in my 2018 book, I War, I made a recommendation. I said, what we really need is not a U.S. agency for global media. We need a U.S. information agency for the 21st century. USIA was the real cutting edge of the Cold War information operations. We got rid of it in '99. It was a big mistake, and we really need to bring it back today in a new form with digital and be able to ready social media, the whole gamut, to be able to do that and really take on the challenges that we're facing, especially from the communist Chinese ideology, the ideological threat from China.
If you were to be able to talk to O'Brien today before the speech, or the president, if he was out there yesterday, if you were able to get him, what are the 2 or 3 things that Bill, that you think need to be taken to confront the Chinese Communist Party?
Well, I think the first step is they need to resolve the debate within the Trump administration. You know, this is not, I mean, we've got a great China policy, but it's facing huge opposition, not just from communist China, but from the bureaucracy within the U.S. government. There are bureaucrats in numerous agencies, the State Department, the intelligence community, the Treasury Department, that don't want to see a new policy towards China, a new, tougher policy. They want to go back to business as usual, unfettered engagement, which has basically turned out to be a huge appeasement of China. So I would say what Trump needs to do and what O'Brien needs to do is do what the Reagan administration was, which was create a whole generation of officials in the system who can carry forward the policies that are being formulated now.
Bill, I want to thank you. Looking for your reporting. I know the speech is embargoed, but looking for the reporting later in the day around noon Pacific time.
Yeah, it'll be on the Washington Times site.
Okay, perfect. Bill Gertz. Bill, how do they get to, what's your Twitter handle?
It's at Bill Gertz, and my website is gertzfile.com.
The book is Deceiving the Skies. We've talked about many, many times. Bill, thank you for joining us today from Arizona.
Hey, thank you.
Bill Gertz. Do we have the CNN clip? It's not often I get President Obama, modeling himself after me, and CNN saying nice things, right? Do we have this? We have this ready to go?
I think we have to fill while they pull it up. There's a capacity. And by the way,
here we go.
Okay.
This information battle has come home. When Voice of America and these other entities were created, they were created to fight fascism and communism overseas. What's concerning is that instead of Voice of America, we could wind up with Voice of Bannon, some kind of propaganda entity that's muddying up the information debate here in the U.S. as well.
Sarah,
Brian Stelter looked like he sucked on a lemon as soon as that came across. Voice of Ben, it's got a nice ring to it.
Steve, that's just his face. Come on, man.
This whole war room thing. Maybe I got to copyright the Voice of Ben. Okay,
I'm buying the domain right now.
we're going to come back with Liz Ure, Vatican and China.
Everyone loves the benefits of compression socks, but they're just so hard to get on. Until now, introducing the all-new Copperfit Energy Socks, redesigned for the first ever easy on, easy off fit to help reduce swelling, relieve tired, achy muscles, and provide energizing support. A new blend of stretch fabric for the most comfortable, easy on, easy off compression fit.
Being a SWAT commander, we train to win. The Copperfit Energy Socks, they didn't feel like other compression socks. They totally exceeded my expectations.
Our most powerful copper-infused fabric, woven into our easy-on, easy-off compression sock to help reduce swelling discomfort from prolonged sitting or standing.
I'm 38 and a half weeks pregnant. Copperfit Energy Socks worked beautifully.
Extra support around the arch and ankles for increased support and relief of muscle aches and pains.
I'm so excited about these socks. I'm so much more energized to go do things after a day of work. They just slip right on, yet they still have that same compression that you want.
A soft cushion footbed for all-day comfort.
I'm on my feet at least 9 to 10 hours a day. These were fantastic. A lot of compression socks are a little too thin, especially for what I do. With Copperfit, I could wear these every day.
Feel more energized. Feel more active. Just feel better.
They just hug your leg. It relieves all the pressure that you have. I have so much energy, I can go, hey, you want to dance?
The first ever easy on, easy off compression sock. The most comfortable compression sock you will ever wear. Get your Copperfit Energy Socks now online at GetEnergySocks.com for only $19.99 or call 1-800-978-1224. Order right now and we'll include a second pair of compression socks free.
I've never felt anything like it before.
No more pain, no more swelling, no more achy, tired feet.
I can never go back to regular compression socks again.
Don't settle for ordinary. Ask for the original by name, Copperfit Energy Socks.
Have you or a loved one taken Zantac or another heartburn medication and developed cancer? You may be entitled to compensation. The FDA just announced that it is requesting manufacturers withdraw from the market all prescription and over-the-counter ranitidine heartburn medications, commonly known by the brand name Zantac. This is the latest step in an ongoing investigation of a contaminant known as NDMA in ranitidine heartburn medications. NDMA is a chemical that the FDA and World Health Organization both classify as cancer-causing. Now, prior to this announcement, CVS and Walgreens pulled Zantac from their shelves, citing the link between Zantac, NDMA, and cancer. If you or a loved one have taken Zantac or another heartburn medication and developed cancer, how do you fight for the compensation you deserve? You choose the right legal team that has the experience, support staff, and resources to seek the most compensation for your injuries. Call for more information and a free case review.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Although National Security Advisor today, O'Brien's going to lay down, I think, even harder than others have. Remember, Mike Pence gave a speech at Hudson Institute. Mike Pompeo's been on fire. I think O'Brien today is going to be the trifecta to lay out exactly what the administration thinks of the Chinese Communist Party. These are turbulent times. This is a great hegemonic struggle between the forces of freedom, the Alliance of Liberty, and the forces of darkness. That is communism and the dictatorships that they run. In turbulent times, what will get us through is entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs know and understand free market capitalism. If you're an entrepreneur, you need NetSuite by Oracle. Oracle's the number one platform on the cloud. NetSuite's the number one platform for entrepreneurs. If your business is 1 million to 100 million, you want NetSuite by Oracle. netsuite.com/Bannon, Bannon. Get your book today, which is 7 steps, action steps you should be taking as an entrepreneur in times of turbulence. Speaking of times of turbulence, mainstream media's heads blowing up from the Saturday special. That's why if you're a listener to War Room, make sure you get to the Saturday special. It's going to have a very, very, very special broadcast this Saturday. We'll reveal it on Friday. about what we're going to be, but we want to make sure you're listening. The one on Saturday, we had Miles Guo, two segments, Information War. The Information War of the Chinese Communist Party about America was part one, and Miles was very blunt about how they're coming after us. In part two, we pulled the camera back. Part one, we had Pasobik and Raheem talking about the information war, that they're the Wu Mao army, and how what you see and hear every day is being affected by the Chinese Communist Party, and how they're getting it back, in particular a lot of these anarchists. And then the second hour, we pulled the camera back and said the Chinese Communist Party's information war against the world. And we had Francesco Galliato. Jack was able to track down Francesco, one of the most brilliant geopolitical thinkers at Policy Sonar in Italy, and really kind of it comes at things from a very secular point of view, not a religious site. This guy's a hardcore advisor to hedge funds. He's written a book that people's heads are blowing up, and they never expected it from him because he really follows politics very closely. It was called Red Contagion: How China and the Chinese Communist Party are using Italy as the Trojan horse into the West. Now, you understand Italy was kind of ground zero for the transfer of the CCP virus, not the Wuhan virus and not the Kung flu. Those are not good terms. The term is CCP virus. The CCP virus went to northern Italy, into Milan and Turin, because of the CCP's investment in their personnel there, of the industrial companies and the fashion companies and the textile companies that they bought in Fashion Week, right? You know, Jack, we'd have Mary Louisa Hawkins on here all the time. So his book says, hey, they're the Trojan horse for the CCP's involvement in the West, and Italy is important for the church and for the Rome and for what it means for the West, the Roman Empire, Roman Republic, all that. Remember, our founders we were based upon the Roman Republic, our former government. And Francesco Galliato stunned us because the book's in Italian. Quite frankly, we haven't had a chance to read it. We asked him because, the 5-star movement's been corrupted. There's all this thing about corruption and payoffs and thing, about they're doing Marco Polo's thing in Venice, and the CCP's all over them. I've been fighting those guys over there for a couple of years. Every interview is about anti-CCP. He says, oh, no, that's not it. It's the secret deal with the Vatican. It's the Vatican that's doing this, the Vatican. And that's why I remember I gave a live broadcast 2 years ago when they had the pedophiles conference. I'm up there at the top on the convent overlooking St. Peter's Square talking about this secret deal. That here they are, this conference about child abuse, and they're cutting secret deals with the Chinese Communist Party, a materialistic, atheistic, totalitarian dictatorship. Galliato says, no, they're selling out is the Vatican. We go, how's that? He goes, well, Pope Francis is anti-American. This is not Steve Bannon. This is the Policy Sonar analyst. He says, oh, no, he's virulently anti-American. He's also a communist. He's got this the Jesuit liberation theology. So Miles Guo comes back on for the second hour of the show. Miles goes, hey, I've been telling you that. Obviously, they're taking money. $2 billion. This is why the deal's secret. This is why they never expose the deal. This is why they never do it. Jack Maxey and I are looking at each other going, and Miles, look, he leads the whistleblower movement. And people say, well, listen, go back to H&A. It was $1 trillion in value as a privately held company when Miles Guo on Voice of America that pulled the plug during a live interview for the only time in its history when he was saying, hey, H&A is a money laundering operation and influence peddling of American politicians and businessmen in this country, controlled by two not-for-profits in this country, by Wan Xishan and the senior guys at the Communist Party. And, hey, he went and all those guys, Merrill Lynch, all these guys tried to sue him. He says, hey, throw down, let's go. I want to depose all of you guys. It's called discovery. Every suit dropped. Where's H&A today? H&A's in bankruptcy in China. Equity worth zero. Everything Miles Guo said about H&A, everything was true. And if anybody wants to come after Miles Guo or me about the H&A thing, bring it. Okay, bring it. You're a bunch of crooks. Okay, money laundering and influence peddling at the highest levels with big dough. Miles Guo said, hey, the same whistleblower movement, the Vatican's up to their neck in this. And that's why it's a secret deal. Cardinal Zen, what is Cardinal Zen? He and the Dalai Lama, two holiest guys in the world. What does Cardinal Zen say? The Cardinal of Hong Kong. Cardinal Zen says, hey, this is why it's a secret deal. Release the deal. How can a deal be secret? Here's why it's secret. It talks about full diplomatic relationships. And by who's the author of this deal? Not the guys here today. McCarrick, a guy who should be in prison. McCarrick, of all the corrupt clergy in the Catholic Church, and the corruption is ridiculous. McCarrick is the most corrupt of them all, right? He's been kicked out of the priesthood, but he's still living on the church's nickel out there in Nebraska. So I want to bring on now even a bigger fire breather than Steve Bannon. That's Liz Yore. She's been on this. And by the way, you do not want Liz Yore in your business, okay, because she is in your grill. She's a former prosecutor, investigative reporter. Liz, talk to us about this secret deal. And Miles Guell, now it's an international story. You don't see any denials from the Vatican, at least not today. Here's the reason. If you're going to deny it, give us the deal.
You're right. The deal was made in September 2018. It was secret against all international treaty and policies. You don't have secret agreements anymore. Steve, in 2017, President Xi spoke at Davos. You guys have talked about this speech. It was his main globalist speech. And what did he say? All roads lead to Rome. Apparently, all bank accounts lead to the Vatican as well. We've got to watch the Vatican. I want to break some news today. The Vatican is having a major event in October. It's called the Global Compact for Education. And one of their side partners, One People, One Planet, if that doesn't sound like globalism to you, is sponsored by none other than Huawei. Now, President Xi is brilliant.
Hold it. Stop. Yeah. Liz, you can't be doing it. You're doing that just to trigger me. You're doing this to trigger me. Is that true? Huawei, the PLA, the People's Liberation Technology Group, is co-sponsoring a Vatican conference on education.
One People, One Planet, which is a partner. Now, Steve, look, Xi got his money's worth, didn't he? He's got silence from Pope Francis on the Hong Kong violence and freedom marchers. He's got praise from the Pope on what I call the international crime against humanity, the CCP virus. What did the Pope say? That the CCP in China did a great job of containing the virus. The Pope and his papal court of sympathizers has called the organ donation program a great program. I mean, this is mind-boggling. I mean, for decades, we have had previous popes rail against the CCP, rail against the patriotic church. And along comes Pope Francis, and according to Miles, in 2014 is when the bank account, the money started flowing to the Vatican. Interestingly, in 2018 was the secret deal with the Vatican. In 2019, March of 2019, was a MOU between Italy and China. The One Belt, One Road initiative is going to Italy. That's where we've got to watch. Look, the CCP has snagged the voice, the moral voice of the Vicar of Christ. That's what we're dealing with. So that when we talk about Christian persecution, when we talk about what's going on in Hong Kong, President Xi has Pope Francis's voice. And now we know, after all these head-scratching comments from the Vatican in support of China, we know, follow the money. So people have to pay attention, especially in the upcoming fall. There's going to be some major anti-American events. The economy of Francesco, which is the pushing of socialism right out of the Vatican. That's in November. The Global Compact of Education, which is, Greta Thunberg's going to be there. It's going to be pushing socialism to our kids. And this is all with the imprimatur of the Vatican. And, the CCP can hide in the background and they're going to renew this agreement again. This Vatican-China deal, they're talking about renewing it again. I'll bet any money that it's still going to be secret. I bet what we will see shortly within the next year or so, a visit of the Pope to Beijing announcing diplomatic relations, as you said, Steve. So, all roads lead.
Okay, Liz, what's your Twitter handle? How do people get access? We've got about 15 seconds. How do you get access to Liz Yore?
At Elizabeth Yore is my Twitter handle, and Yore, YORE, is my website.
God bless you, ma'am. You're a hero. Here's the thing you should take solace from, listeners and viewers. When we have Burgess Owens, we have Liz Yore, We have Miles Guo. We have Raynard Jackson. We have the conservative clergy of color. We have those people on our side of the football. It's always darkest before the dawn. We're gonna win. We're going to win because we're relentless. We're not going to give up on this. Special guest from Hong Kong next on Pandemic.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this. Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something. If you can find something to help you get back out and be active like Copperfit, go for it. Absolutely. Do not give up.
A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
This is Kate.
Hey.
She takes 2 prescriptions. Kate's son Jack takes one too. Kate works hard and thought she had good insurance. But she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
Some people say dress your age. That's ridiculous. I dress how I feel. Yesterday, I felt bold with boundless energy. This morning, I woke up calm and unbreakable. Tomorrow, who knows? Age is just an illusion. How you show up for the world, that's what's real. What's your idea? I put it out there with the GoDaddy website. Make the world you want.
War Room, Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room, Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
The CCP is a demon, and we cannot allow that demon to hide. Today in Arizona, the National Security Advisor, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, his name would be Robert O'Brien. He's going to give a throwdown speech following Vice President Pence and Secretary of State Pompeo in laying out what the United States is, the failed engagement of the financial and business community with the Chinese Communist Party. We've got some breaking news, though, out of in these congressional races.
Yes, in a head-to-head matchup of endorsements, AOC versus Chuck Schumer, AOC has prevailed over the Schumer-endorsed candidate or incumbent, who is also the House Foreign Relations Chairman.
What's Engel? I mean, this guy's been around since 1980.
Elliot Engel.
Yeah.
Prevailed. I mean, it's a full blowout.
What is a 63? What is a
61.7 to 34.9.
So who's the candidate? Who's the AOC candidate?
That is Jamal Bowman.
Yeah, he's
hyper progressive, right?
Well, but he's a high middle school principal, I think. Middle school principal. But she won big time, and by the way, she took on all opponents in her own district and won, I think, 70-30. right? Or 80-20 or something like that.
And you can't underestimate the fact that the chairman of the Nancy Pelosi-controlled House went down.
This is a big one. This is as big as AOC winning. Also, he's one of the few guys that got national security on the Democratic side, so now that's all gone away. Either Mayor of New York or Chuck Schumer, but hearing some footsteps in the background of AOC coming for him in the United States Senate, right? That's a big victory for that progressive left. It hasn't had a lot to show so far in this. Okay, remember, this shows you the turbulence, right? You're seeing it now, and this is what a fourth turning is all about. If you're an entrepreneur, you need tools to help see you through the turbulence. You need operating leverage, not financial leverage. You need operating leverage. NetSuite by Oracle is that leverage. It's the software package that combines everything. So remember, Oracle's #1 platform in the cloud. NetSuite's in 20,000 businesses. If your business is $1 million or above to $100 million, you need this package. Go to netsuite.com/Bannon, BANNON, to get your software package today. Okay, now we're very honored in the continuing fight for freedom in the Alliance of Liberty. One of the things we've done since June of 2019 with Miles Guo first and then on the War Room is to report in the streets of Hong Kong these amazing young patriots, these patriots that remind us of the patriots of 1775. Guang Yi Yun is one of the most prominent businessmen in Hong Kong, a guy very close to Jimmy Lai and the guys there at Apple News, and Jimmy Lai on 60 Minutes, and Jimmy Lai really the one of the faces of the establishment there that have really come and had the back of the young people of Hong Kong. Mr. Yun, thank you very much for joining us on War and Pandemic. You're bringing to us, and in the next segment, we're going to exclusively launch a video that you have helped make with the people at Apple TV over there, or Apple News, about the young men and women that have been abused, raped, sexually abused by the police, by the PLA, undercover agents in Hong Kong. But I want to first ask you, right now, this whole situation between Hong Kong and China, what's going on and how important to you is it that the West has some sort of response? The United States, Japan, Canada, and Europe. Walk us through the crisis, and then what do you think is the solution has to be?
Right now is the darkest hours of Hong Kong. And it's almost like the movie you saw with Churchill, or just before and after the Dunkirk retreat. And we need your help to fight against the communists. They are coming with this national security law. And last year, as you know, which my video will show how the Hong Kong young protesters, the freedom protesters, suffered. And after they pass this law, it's going to be Holocaust, or you can call them ethnic cleansing. We are the free Chinese. Those across the border are the slave Chinese. So anyway, I'm here from Hong Kong. In the last 10 days, I've been working on 3 objectives. One is try to get these kids, 20,000 of them, a chance to come to college here and get a good education, because a lot of them will have arrest records or criminal records. We need some kind of help, either from President Trump or Secretary Pompeo, to let them come here and go to proper schools and get a good education. My second objective is, since the CCP have torn up the Joint Declaration, the sovereign right of Hong Kong should be reverted back to UK, who in turn should revert back to the people of Hong Kong before 1997. And we need a referendum, a public referendum, to decide our own future. And number 3, I'm working on with many congressmen and also the human rights lawyers to try to legislate or maybe amend some law to name the CCP as a criminal organization. And if we can do that, all their 90 million members are criminals, and they can be put under sanction or the most severe sanction. We are also trying to go through court. And if a federal judge named the CCP as a criminal organization like the mafia, then all its members, the 90 million members, will be considered as criminals, and they can be sanctioned all around the world, because now you have the PRISM and also the G7, Japan and Korea, all willing to join in your sanctions. But in the last 10 days...
Mr. Young, just hang on one second. We've had Miles Guo, has left China a couple of years ago, and he's part of this founding of the new federal state of China. Many cultural figures have joined this. They have said consistently, which has kind of shocked the American elites, that the CCP is not really a government. It's a terrorist organization, or it's a criminal enterprise. And people, all the elites and the business elites, nobody's wanted to hear it. You come forward, you're one of the most successful men in Hong Kong, and clearly not a wild-eyed revolutionary. I just want to go back to this. It's your belief, as a businessman that has come from nothing, and you were born in mainland China, I think up in Shanghai, got to Hong Kong, and have created not just enormous wealth, but enormous job opportunities and great companies. I want to go back. You believe that the Chinese Communist Party is not a legitimate government, but you also believe it is a criminal organization.
It's not only not a legitimate government. It's not even a nation. What is a nation? You need a constitution. Their constitution you can change overnight. Nobody will ever read the constitution or live by the constitution. You need a government. All the government officials, including the prime minister, is controlled by some party organs behind and pulling the strings. There is no government, there is no constitution, there is no voting. People don't count, all right? They call themselves the People's Republic of China. This is not China. This is Marxism from Russia or USSR. So forget it. This is called one party. It's called one party, two system we have in Hong Kong. It's not one nation. There is no nation. It's the biggest crime organization in the world with 90 million party members or gangsters controlling 1.4 billion innocent slaves. That's what they are. So there is no
Young,
nation.
what do you
there is no government.
Mr. Young, what would you say to companies, individuals, financial institutions in Wall Street, the City of London, Europe, the United States, Canada, that actively participate with the Chinese Communist Party? As a voice of the Chinese people, what message would you have to them?
Get the hell out. These people, the communism is going to, their final objective is to take over all free enterprises. All free capitalist enterprises. Only a matter of time. I was sucked in. I was the first factory in 1977 to open in China. Okay, until Tiananmen Square, I woke up. Who would kill the kids using their military? Which country? No country. So it's a gangster. They use their gangster military and kill those kids. As simple as that. And what did the Falun Gong done wrong? Nothing. All they do is exercise, this breathing exercise. And because there are so many of them, they decided to get rid of them. And organ harvesting, you name it, all the major crime. I'm doing a video on in the last 71 years, all the crimes they committed. And there is no question, it's a criminal organization. And they have done crime against humanity.
Mr. Young, we've got about 2 minutes left, and then we're going to take a break and play your video in its entirety. But in the 2 minutes we have left, what would be your recommendation to the American people, not to our politicians, but to the American people, of how they should confront the Chinese Communist Party?
U.S., the people are the master of the country. They have to recognize the enemy they're facing and tell their government, tell their president what to do. Right now, unfortunately, your president is sleeping. He's doing nothing. And this is what I want to say. Your government and your Congress is allowing the Chinese communists to get away with murder. What I mean by 120,000 people so far have been murdered, and tens of thousands of jobs lost, trillions of dollars lost, and this is still ongoing. You need to do something. Everybody needs to do something right away. The people should write their congressman and write to the president. And if they want to be re-elected in November, they better do something. They are letting the Chinese communists get away with murder. That's the message I want to give the world.
Mr. Young, thank you. I want to thank you very much for joining us. We're going to now, we appreciate it. We'll make sure we get to your Twitter handle and your social media and people can see it. We're going to, next segment, play your video that you helped make in its entirety. I want to thank you for your stark analysis of what the situation in Hong Kong is, mainland China, and what's confronting the Alliance of Liberty in the United States and others. Thank you very much for joining us today on War and Pandemic. This is what I want to get to. That right there, he's one of the most, he started the first plant in China back in '77. He is one of the most renowned, respected businessmen in Hong Kong, a legendary figure in the electronics business. And he's telling you, they're guilty of murder. They've killed 120,000 of your citizens. And by the projections out of the University of Washington, there are going to be 200,000 American citizens of every race, color, creed, ethnicity, gender, sexual preference, Republicans, Democrats, independents, or people not even registered to vote that don't care, which is your right in the United States of America. That's the voice we need to hear from inside the belly of the beast, telling you, hey, and this is not some wide-eyed radical. This is one of the most successful businessmen in the world. They're guilty of murder, and they're getting away with it. And all they're going to do is crush Hong Kong. His thing is, hey, reverse the whole thing, give it back to the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom gives it back to the people of Hong Kong. If we don't throw down on this now, the dark days are going to be here forever. We'll return with the video in its entirety in a moment.
How often do you get a good night's sleep?
I'm tossing and turning, and I'm worried, and I have anxiety.
According to a major publication, lack of sleep can impair your memory and concentration, cause weight gain and depression.
I can't think straight. My brain is foggy.
Wouldn't you like to get the kind of deep, rejuvenating, uninterrupted slumber that leaves you feeling refreshed in the morning and ready to take on the day? Introducing safe, gentle, natural, affordable Relaxium Sleep. Developed by a renowned neurologist, Dr. Eric Celeberity, Relaxium is a true breakthrough in sleep science.
I've had terrible experiences with sleeping pills, but with Relaxium Sleep, I woke up alert with no after effects.
Its triple action formula contains a proprietary blend of ingredients, which first regulates the natural sleep cycle, then relaxes the body, and finally calms the mind. In a double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial evaluating the ingredients in Relaxium Sleep, participants reported their ability to sleep improved by up to 71%, reduced stress and anxiety by up to 70%, boosted daytime energy by up to 53%, improved concentration by up to 50%, improved the quality of their lives, and it's 100% guaranteed to work. We're so confident that Relaxium will work for you that we're giving away 1,000 bottles today.
I feel so rested, and I love it because it's so natural.
You deserve a good night's sleep, so call now and try Relaxium Sleep risk-free for 30 days. Reduce sleeplessness, reduce stress and anxiety, restore daytime energy, improve concentration.
I work better, I'm more productive.
Call within the next 15 minutes and we'll also send you the powerful Relaxium Sleep music CD absolutely free.
Thank God for Relaxium Sleep because it's truly changed my life.
To receive your risk-free 1-month supply of Relaxium and free music CD, call 1-800-449-6816 or visit tryrelaxium.com.
From roof to foundation, the damage to your home can be devastating, from clogged gutters, leaking roofs, rotting wood and fascia, and flooded basements. Protect your entire home with Leaf Filter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system. Once our ladders go up, you can put yours down forever.
One of the things that I like the most is that I don't have to get back on the ladder anymore.
Leaf Filter starts by cleaning, sealing, and realigning your gutters. We then install our micromesh screen over your existing gutters, which is guaranteed to filter out everything except for water.
Trying other products is what made us finally go to Leaf Filter.
And Leaf Filter's lifetime transferable warranty makes it an extraordinary value.
Leaf Filter is going to make my home more valuable, especially when I go to sell it.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War
of what he did that are now coming forward. Guan Yi Yun is one of the most prominent businessmen. You saw today, totally threw down with Jimmy Lai, did this incredible video. It's the rape of Hong Kong. We're now going to play it. Let it rip.
I'm a Hong Kong father of 6 and a grandfather of 4. The video I'm presenting to you are about young boys and girls being attacked by the military police dressed in Hong Kong police uniforms. In the last 12 months, over 10,000 of our young boys and girls have been arrested, beaten, tortured, murdered, raped, and some even been sent to China to concentration camps that we have no idea what happened to them. Please support Hong Kong. The national security law is being passed now will bring about an ethnic cleansing to Hong Kong. We are the free Chinese, and across the border are the slave Chinese. I want to present to you this video to understand how bad the fascist police really are. Thank you.
After this traumatic experience, I was often terrified to tears when I heard loud noises. I cannot help but relive the events which loom large in my everyday life. I often felt strong disgust and shame towards my body to the point it made me suicidal. I tried to take my own life 3 times. I was treated at a psychiatric hospital and diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. I considered seeking help and telling the truth. However, I fear revenge by the police. If I file a complaint, I could be singled out and prosecuted.
I feel helpless and no lawyer was there to protect me. I did not know how long this order would last, and if this order would happen to me again. I was taken up at the police station for more than 20 hours.
To this very day, I'm still traumatized. The memories in the police station and holding center still haunt me. Recurrent nightmares in which I relived the humiliation and abuse during detention have become a fact of life.
警方你一直話冇呢啲人企出嚟，我而家就企出嚟，我同你講。
As I came forward publicly to demand accountability, I received menacing phone calls, death threats, and was cyberbullied. Despite all, nobody can stop me from pursuing justice. It is not only justice for me alone, but justice for every Hong Kong citizen, because many are also victims, survivors of police violence, and all of us are subject to further abuse of power. Truth and justice are what we need to live our lives without fear.
I always have nightmares about the incident. I feel hopeless after the incident. I have no trust in the current complaint system. What I can do is to tell myself I'm strong. I can get over it. Time heals everything. My underwear was exposed and caught on the cameras of mass media. It is clear that these male police officers were using disproportionate and unnecessary force. They tried to humiliate and intimidate me, but I will not back down. I'm lucky in the sense that my case was caught on cameras. That can prove sexual violence really happened on me.
曾經有一段時間困咗喺屋企嗰度咯，唔想見人，同埋唔想同人溝通，唔希望將自己嘅負面情緒pass 俾身邊嘅人咯。最主要其實唔想重溫當日發生過嘅畫面。一個體制係一個侵蝕人權、民主自由嘅病毒。香港係有責任提醒全世界，一旦被入侵，你要有犧牲自己同埋下幾代嘅自由人權準備。
This is our demand. What happened to us?
As the COVID-19 pandemic sweeps the world, we urgently need your help. Our elderly Jewish brothers and sisters who are so precious to God have no access to food, medicine, or to keep themselves safe from the virus. And right now, we must take extraordinary measures during these extraordinary times to fulfill what it says in God's holy scriptures. Comfort ye my people.
Your $25 will help rush an emergency food box filled with life-saving food and germ-fighting supplies to an elderly person in Israel.
This is Shoshana. She's a 97-year-old widow who lives in Jerusalem. She tells us about the day Joseph Mengele